major problem.
And it's getting worse?
It's getting worse. One of the reasons that it's getting worse is the reason that people are using.
Welcome back to Co-Podcast. I'm your host, Shamarki. And on this podcast, we discuss topics about innovations, resilience, and development. Today, we have ourselves a very special guest, and I'll let him introduce himself to us.
I'm very honored to be here with you guys, to be on Co podcast. I believe it is such an important and praiseworthy uh, initiative to talk about technology, innovation, resilience, and development. If I start to introduce myself, my name is Liban Mohamed. I work with local angels, particularly I work with Shakaton and also SomRil in the space of youth empowerment and innovation.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. It's nice to have you here, Liban. Thank you for coming.
I'm honored as well.
Thank you so much. So, um, I'd like to know what exactly is SomRil? What does it stand for, and what do they do?
Well, that's a very good question. So before I delve into what is SomRil, perhaps it's very important that I give you a certain or some context as to what is real response innovation lab. Because once you understand response innovation lab, then it's going to be very easier to be familiar with the work of SomRil. So back in 2015, a devastating earthquake happened in Nepal, and then it killed thousands of people, and a lot of other people lost their livelihood because of the disaster. And then World Vision in Nepal started a humanitarian intervention in Nepal. And during that humanitarian intervention, they came about a massive realization. They said that the traditional humanitarian space is close to the burgeoning or emerging ecosystem of startups, social entrepreneurs, innovators, non-traditional actors, let it be the academia, researchers, and all other that. And then they realized that despite the fact that they're not inclusive to all of these other actors, their work and the impact of their work gets diminished. So what they think of is that we need to come up with a collaborative problem solving kind of a method or approach which would include all of these actors to contribute towards the development, resilience, and also humanitarian work. So that's where the idea of SomRil came. Then that same approach has been replicated in different contexts other than Nepal. And then Somalia is one of these contexts.
Does that mean SomRil was founded in Nepal?
The idea that SomRil based on is found in Nepal initially.
Oh,
The
interesting.
very approach.
Yeah.
So then if I come down to SomRil,
Yeah.
so SomRil basically is interactions, collaboration. So it aspires to come up with innovations and then employs these innovations to enhance the humanitarian as well as development interventions of the defense in Somalia in order to enhance the resilience of Somali people. So it's basically hosted under the SomRep consortium, this program called Somali Resilience Program, which was founded back in 2012, I guess, when Somalia was hit by humanitarian crisis back then. So it's also part of a global response innovation lab, which brings together different innovators from different parts of the world. So I think that's what is
Right.
SomRil.
Now, right now, I would assume that you are involved in a project. Could you please speak about that project? What is that project about, and what do they do right now? So a brief overview of the project that you're working on right now.
Great. So before I delve into the project itself,
Yeah.
let's give it some context.
Yeah.
So as we know, the world is grappling with climate change. It's affecting our lives from all spheres. And because of that, I think Somalia is also one of the most, Somaliland for that matter, was one of the most vulnerable countries in terms of
Yeah.
the effects of climate change.
Right.
And then this project is all about making Somalia more resilient
Mm-hmm.
to the changes coming from or resulting from climate change.
Mm-hmm.
And so the project is called Social Plastic for Economic Development.
Social plastic for economic development.
Exactly.
Nice.
So what it tries to do is it aims at engaging youth, local communities, private sectors to undergo a behavioral change, as well as to be able to come up with a plastic waste management kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
And the project aims to, one of the desired or outcomes of the project is to co-create a locally led innovations that would bring about a solutions for plastic waste
Mm-hmm.
problems in Somaliland, particularly in Hargeisa.
Mm.
So it aims to do that, as well as provide alternative opportunities for vulnerable people in
Right.
Somaliland.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So it's very unique, very innovative project, and also it's very much a needed project given how widespread is plastic waste generation in Somaliland,
Mm.
Hargeisa particularly, since urbanization and also population growth
Right.
affects it greatly.
Interesting. So, when did this particular project started
So the project started this year.
this year?
Yes, it is funded by Innovation Norway, and it's the first time that Innovation Norway funded this kind of project in Somalia, for that matter, and Somaliland.
Mm-hmm.
And then because of the unique approach SomRil utilizes, they were quite convinced.
So the same thing that's happening here, the same thing is happening in Mogadishu, the same project,
Not the same
Oh.
project, but also other project is funded by
similar.
Innovation Norway is happening in Mogadishu.
Right.
But that one is about remittance and some finance and all that.
Okay,
This one is
okay.
about more of plastic waste.
I understand. So, but for Somaliland, Hargeisa, this is the first time Norway Innovation
Exactly.
got involved,
They offered
offered
the donation.
the
or
donation
for the funds.
for the funds.
Yes, but the implemented partners are SomRil, which is hosted under the consortium of SomRil,
Yeah.
as well as Engineers Without Borders as well.
Interesting. So, how does the project plan to use innovative methods from the Response Innovation Lab?
Well, when it comes to the space of innovation, this project is not utilizing the familiar or popular or traditional way of doing projects. But what it tries to do is we hold or host something called convener. So basically what we do convener is we bring together different actors in the ecosystem or the space of plastic waste for that matter. So when we bring these different actors from both traditional and then non-traditional spaces, they discussed on the issues.
Could you please, sorry to interrupt you, but could you emphasize what exactly do you mean by actors?
Basically, actors, I mean the people, the entities, the
Yeah.
different individuals that are engaged in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
And this ecosystem we're talking about is the plastic waste ecosystem in Somaliland,
Mm-hmm.
Hargeisa particularly.
Okay.
So it could be the universities, academia, private sectors, recyclers, startups, innovators.
Anyone who is involved
Yes.
with plastic waste.
Yes, exactly. So we bring these diverse groups together
Right.
to discuss about the different aspects of the challenge of plastic waste.
Right.
And by doing that, it helps us to come up with a challenge statement which would pave the way for navigating to find solutions for the problem.
Right. Who are the people that are benefiting from all of this?
Well,
Who are you guys targeting?
we are targeting the unemployed youth,
Ah.
vulnerable people. So because they are the most, especially vulnerable people, they're the one who are most heated by climate change.
Climate change, yeah.
Yes. So we're trying to help these people to help themselves with the benefits of this project
Yeah.
through just to find alternative livelihood opportunities.
Right. So so you mentioned the individuals who have been hit by climate
Climate change.
change.
Yes. So
We're in
when
Hargeisa, so is this all over
so for
Somaliland?
now,
You guys focus
for
on,
now, the scope of the project is Hargeisa.
right?
Yes, but it could
It could
expand
expand.
into the other places. Yes.
All right.
So
So how does the project aim to? So are you guys aiming to create jobs?
yes, that's one thing. One of the reasons of this project being implemented in Somaliland is that it would create alternative opportunities for these people. So when I say alternative opportunities, we are just speaking of as well employment.
Right.
So and also there are people who have already certain jobs, but these jobs are in a condition that you could specify as undignified. So we want to give them the chance that they could have a dignified employment. For
Could you
example,
give you some examples?
yes, for example, there are waste pickers, informal waste pickers, and then these informal waste pickers, they're always engaged in waste collection or waste segregation activities that are not protecting their
Dignity.
safety,
Yeah, safety.
dignity.
Yeah.
So with this project, we're hoping to change that. We're hoping to somehow revolutionize the ecosystem,
Yeah.
help people to have a dignified like job opportunities
Yeah.
and all of that. Yes.
Okay. So that's great, and that's really really great, honestly. So how do you aim to do that?
We aim to do that by so the project aims to first advertise two challenge innovation challenges.
Right.
So these two challenge innovations, each one would have a grant of 80 to 70, 75 to $80,000.
Wow.
So these people who win the grant,
Yeah.
who are being awarded,
Yeah.
would come up with different business plan
Yeah.
that
Okay.
they would say we would have this kind of impact across the value chain, across the stages of the value chain.
Yeah.
This is the amount of people we're going to employ you. This is how we're going to change their life. Then by seeing or receiving these applications and seeing how quality
Yeah.
they are,
Yeah.
we can understand the impact we can, have.
What stage are you on now?
So right now, we are in the early stage of the project.
Yeah.
We have finished finalizing the challenge statement. We've hosted the convener. So I think at the end of this month, we're trying to release the challenge. We're trying to advertise it, and then to release the call for application, so that people could apply for
Cohort
it.
for the
Yes.
applications.
Yes.
And it has to be related to social plastic waste.
It has to be related to plastic waste. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Exactly. So people have to come up with a very realistic,
Yeah.
very like well designed
Yeah.
business plan
Yeah.
that is indicative of sustainability,
Yeah.
practicality, and
Yeah.
effectiveness, as well as relevance
So,
in the context.
The main goal is to recycle waste, is it? Or
Yeah,
plastic can be
well,
recycled?
that's one of the goals of the project.
Yeah.
But other goals of the project is streamlining or offering a better alternative
Yeah.
than there are existing right now to these
Right.
vulnerable people, so they
Right.
could change their lives. That's one thing. Also, the other goals of the project is to lessen the adverse effects of plastic waste on the environment,
Right.
because
Wow.
plastic waste has a great adverse effects on the environment,
Right.
and it's causing like a lot of problems.
Wow.
So then that's also one of the goals of the project.
Let's talk about Hargeisa. Do you think it's hard for Somaliland to deal with plastic waste?
Yes, of course. It is very difficult, and it's really first it's a convenience for consumption, and also it's affordable. And because of this affordability and the convenience of the plastic waste, the consumption would get more and more. And then other thing that exacerbates the situation is that there's no alternative product to plastic products.
Yeah.
And then since people do not have any other products which is sustainable
Yeah.
in comparison to plastic waste,
Yeah.
they are bound to use plastic more.
We're talking about plastic, like plastic bags,
Yes.
plastic bottles,
Yes, exactly. All
plastic containers.
Yes, so plastic it could be like included in the consumer goods,
Yeah.
packaging materials,
Yeah.
bags,
Right.
single-use plastics.
Right.
Yes, all of
So
that.
all these plastics are just being thrown out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And yes.
Oh, okay. So How does not having a proper way to manage garbage make the pollution issue worse, especially in
Uh,
Hargeisa?
it makes it worse, to be honest.
Hmm.
One of the reasons that the plastic waste is so
Because right now we don't have a proper way to manage.
exactly one
Yeah,
of the reason the plastic waste is so rampant
you're right.
and so prevalent
Yeah,
in Somaliland,
yeah,
particularly in Hargeisa, given it is urbanization and also a lot of population coming into the city.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, it needs a proper management, waste management,
Hmm.
particularly plastic waste management.
But right now, the current is there any current plastic waste management
Uh,
existing?
of course, the government has been employing different measures
Mm.
and
Measures, yeah.
techniques to
Mhm.
deal with the plastic.
Yeah.
I came up with the different regulations, policies. For example, back in
Mhm.
2015,
Right.
the government banned the single-use plastics, the plastic bags.
So the
banned.
2015 they banned
Yes,
plastic
and then
bags.
they renewed that ban
Yeah.
in 2019. But
Right.
still, there's a lack of effective enforcement. Of
Enforcement, lack of
this. Yes,
yeah.
and then this makes it worse.
Right.
Worse.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
also, the government was not capacitated to undertake effective, fully fledged
Yeah.
waste collection and waste management.
Mhm.
That's why back in 2014, the government signed a private partnership with
Yeah.
waste collectors, private waste collectors.
Mhm.
So right now, most of the waste collection is
Mhm.
undertaken by the private companies.
Right.
So they charge people, they charge
Right, that's true.
households, they
Yeah.
charge businesses, they charge
Yeah.
other institutions.
So it's privately business that is owned.
Exactly. So the government, like, if we want to see a change, a
Yeah.
tangible change, what
Yeah.
we require is first the government to tighten its enforcement.
Yeah.
Also, we need other thing that makes it worse is the lack of awareness, societal awareness on the adverse or the harmful
Mhm.
effects of plastic waste.
Mhm.
Somalia, people are not aware of how big is the negative impact of plastic consumption
Yeah.
on the environment.
How dangerous is it?
It's very dangerous. If it's not managed in a manner that is indicative of professionalism, efficiency, effectiveness, it could really do a huge damage on the environment, on the health of the society, and then yes, I think we could see some of these examples
So
already.
health wise, how could it harm someone's health?
For example, let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Right now, in Hargeisa, there's two dam sites
Right.
where the plastics that being
And
collected.
where are those dump sites located in Hargeisa?
There are located in northern part of the city.
Northern part of the city.
Yes.
So which neighborhood is that?
One is located around Nasa Haplot.
Right.
Yes, and
Okay.
then, for example, if I give you that, people like it's not like it's open space.
Right.
So they dump, and then they actually burn it right after. So when the
That's
plastic
it. That's it. Yeah.
when the plastic is
Yeah.
burned,
Yeah.
it's actually all the smokes that are emanating from there could have the health risk for the people that are living near
Nearby.
these
Yeah.
sites, dump
Yeah.
sites. That's
Yeah.
one thing. Also, other thing is, for example, last year there was a dengue fever. Not last year, I think 2 years ago.
Right.
There was the outbreak of a dengue fever.
What is a dengue
Dengue.
fever?
It's like some kind of disease carried by mosquito and
Mosquitoes. Okay.
yes, and then that was caused by a sewage being
Yeah.
blocked by
Yeah.
a plastic waste or tires, and then that led to the outbreak of the dengue fever. And also there are so many other health related risks is that
Yeah.
plastic, for example, sometimes when the plastic is dumped into a water sources, it contaminates because of the chemical composition of the plastic.
Okay.
So yes, it has it has a lot of health related risks that could actually jeopardize the entire public health.
Yeah. So animals, as we all know, here in this country, like we all consume meat. What bad things could possibly happen to animals? Because we have animals roaming around the streets,
Yes.
and I would assume that from time to time these animals will be eating plastic. That same animal is being sold in the market. So what bad things could happen to animals and water. Do you think the ocean in Berbera is being, determined?
I I mean, the humans are not on the only one that
Yeah.
at risk
Yeah.
in terms of the risk posed by
Right.
plastic,
Right.
but also other uh, species, let it
Yeah.
be animals,
Yeah.
those who are on land, and also those in sea, are
Mhm.
very susceptible
Yeah.
to the risks of
Right.
plastic.
Right.
For example, there are incidents you could see within the country where animals mistakenly eat
Yeah.
uh, plastic because they think it's a food,
Yeah.
and then that leads to their demise.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's very sad thing to happen.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's a global phenomenon.
It is a global phenomenon. Yeah.
And
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
The effects of plastic
Yeah.
on the ocean, like on marine life,
Yeah.
it's so devastating.
Yeah.
On a global level as
Yeah.
well as a country level.
Right.
So right now there are so many marine species that
Yeah.
are losing their lives because of
Yeah.
the plastic
Yeah.
being dumped in the
Yeah.
ocean. So
Yeah.
yes, it's very risky.
Can plastic decompose? How long does it take for plastic to
To be honest,
Yeah.
it takes very long time
Right.
to decompose.
Yeah.
So that's why people are saying let's use more sustainable alternative to plastic. For
Yeah.
example, biodegradable
Yeah. Biodegradable. Yeah.
products,
Yeah.
which can be decomposed
Yeah.
in a very small time
Right.
in comparison to
Yeah.
plastic products.
Do we have that right now?
In
Like those-
Hargeisa,
Yeah.
you could see there's a momentum
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
So young recyclers, young entrepreneurs
Yeah.
are thinking about coming up with a different or more innovative ways to
Yeah.
solve the problem.
Yeah.
Yes, so far there are certain, but there's not that much.
Yeah. So let's go back to the innovation challenge. What exactly is the main goal, and how would it get different people to help? How would it get different people to find solutions?
Well, as I mentioned in the beginning of our conversation,
Yeah, our conversation.
the main goal is first to come up with co-created,
Mhm.
locally led
Yeah.
innovation solution
Mhm.
to plastic waste problems
Right.
in Hargeisa,
Mhm.
Somaliland.
Okay.
Once that's been developed or come up with,
Yeah.
what we are expecting is it would create employment opportunities for young people.
Right.
It would dignify the existing employment of different people who are engaged in
Yeah.
plastic waste ecosystem,
Mhm.
and particularly segregation, aggregation, and
Mhm.
also sorting of the plastic.
Mhm.
And yes,
What are some of the criteria?
uh, one of the major criteria is first you should come up with something that is sustainable, because we want the solutions that they come up with, the business idea that they come up with.
Mhm.
First, it has to be sustainable. It should
Mhm.
be able to sustain after
Mhm.
even the project
Right.
ends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if it collapses
Yeah.
after the project ends,
Yeah.
that means we haven't reached any impact. So
Definitely.
what we encourage young entrepreneurs, young innovators is
Yeah.
always think of the long-term
Yeah.
sustainability
Right.
of the project,
Yeah.
and then how could it impact
Mhm.
across how could it have impact across all these stages of the value chain of plastic waste
Yeah.
in Somaliland.
Right.
So that's one thing.
Yeah.
Other thing is they should come up with a very realistic, very relevant,
Mhm.
context-based business plan
Mhm.
that will deal with all of the components of the value chain.
Yeah. Why is it important to talk to people about changing their? So do you guys? Before I get to that question, do you guys talk to people about changing their habits related to recycling?
Yes, one of
Do you guys do any raise awareness?
yes. For example, one of the components of the project is social behavior change.
Yeah.
So by engaging with different actors
Yeah.
and entities within the ecosystem,
Yeah.
we attempt to change their current,
Right.
current behaviors
Right.
in terms of the way they're consuming plastic and all of that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think awareness raising partakes very
Right.
integral role
Right.
in the fight or combating against
Right.
plastic waste generation or the problem of plastic in Somaliland.
Plastic currently in Somaliland or Hargeisa, is it being recycled?
Uh,
Do we have any um, organization or any initiative that recycles plastic?
well, when it comes to the recycling
Yeah,
sector
sector.
of the
Yeah,
plastic waste,
right.
uh, it's not well developed.
Yeah,
It lacks all the necessary uh, infrastructure,
yeah,
knowledge, and technology to
yeah,
undertake
yeah,
a very good
yeah,
uh, plastic
and
recycling.
also requires a huge
Yes,
amount of
and
funding.
so far there are
Yeah,
young entrepreneurs, innovators who try to engage in recycling.
yeah,
For example, there's one of those young people who, for example, some recycled.
yeah. Some recycle.
Yes, and
Ah,
also Plastic Venture.
right. Plastic.
They were
Okay.
part of the convener we held
Right.
in this year,
Yeah.
so that we could bring together different actors within
Right.
it. So the information that they share with us, and also all the research that we have done,
Yeah.
we the insights that we obtain shows us that uh, recycling activities are less
Yeah.
in Somaliland, and
Right.
then that leads to the more plastic,
Mm-hmm.
generation,
Yeah.
and also unhealthy way of dealing with plastic after it's been, used. That's
Yeah.
why it ends up being dumped in the sea
Yeah.
or other places that are
Right.
not good for the environment or
Yeah.
people who are living on that environment.
Right. I've seen recently how I mean the government is doing a great job with posting garbage bins. Have you seen those?
Yes, I have seen it.
Yeah.
The local government has been trying to place garbage
Garbage bins. Yeah.
bins in a different part of the city so that
Right.
people wouldn't litter
Right.
on the streets,
Right.
but they would actually put it there,
Yeah.
and then the waste collectors
Right.
would take it from there.
Right.
I mean, yes, the government is trying to do a lot of
Yeah. Yeah.
good activities.
Trying to clean the city.
Yes, exactly. And then in terms of also regulation
Right.
and laws,
Yeah.
the government have come up with different policies that are
Right.
dealing with, for example, in 2020,
Yeah.
2023, the government came up with the climate change
Mhm.
policy, which would definitely be very integral in terms of dealing with the plastic waste and also
Mhm.
all the other things that are related to climate change. Currently, also government is working on, I think it's already in pipeline,
Yeah.
the Waste Management Act.
Yeah.
So, and also the government, Minister of Environment and Climate Change has been working on uh, encouraging young
Right.
people who engaged in activities that are like recycling, plastic recycling, all
Mhm.
of that, because they want to always encourage the eco-friendly, activities.
Yeah. What good things might happen if people in Somaliland would work together to find a solution to deal with plastic waste?
Well, we do believe that it's the issue as such as plastic waste is not something that can be done individually,
Yeah.
but it's something that requires a collective action.
Yeah.
It requires the efforts of the community to be pulled
Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
and then when it's been mobilized
Yeah.
effectively,
Yeah. So it is an ongoing effort.
it's ongoing efforts.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, first the people have to understand.
Yeah. Be
The
educated and
yes,
be informed.
the awareness of the society has to be raised.
Right.
When
Yeah.
that's done,
Yeah.
then their actions should be mobilized.
Right.
And then, yes, there's a long way to go,
Yeah.
but I think that people are already waking up to the risk of climate change.
Right.
And then one of the things that exacerbates the risk of climate change
Yeah.
is plastic.
How? So what is the connection between climate change and plastic?
I mean, you see, for example, a lot of plastic single-use bags.
Yeah. Really? A tree?
Yes, yes.
How
You
is
could
that
see it
tree
from
being trucked by
For example, it
plastic?
wouldn't allow to have all.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yes.
I see.
And
I see.
then you would see when it's managed
Mhm.
in a manner that's not good,
Yeah.
it could do damage to the environment and all of that. Yes. So there's big
Wow.
And then, as we talked earlier
Yeah.
about it, then the marine
Yeah.
life, all of that.
So is the project or the initiative giving enough awareness currently?
Uh,
In what ways if they are, in what ways are they informing the public?
First, well, we come up with the yes. First, what we try to do is when it comes to like informing people about the existing issue,
Yeah.
we try to engage with the relevant actors within the that
Yeah.
space of plastic waste.
Yeah.
Once we engage with these actors become informed of
Yeah.
how the current state of affairs is.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, so we help with mapping the
Mm-hmm.
ecosystem.
Yeah.
We try to write or develop the value chain
Yeah.
mapping report
Yeah.
and all of that. And then by doing this, people would be able to become more familiar with plastic waste,
Right.
space.
Right. Is SomRil, Somali Response Innovation Lab, currently active on social media?
I mean, yes, in other
Mm-hmm.
parts
Yeah.
of the world, but also in Somalia, they have done a great lot of work
Yeah.
in southern part of Somalia,
Right.
and then yes, they are trying because we're living in an era where technology and specifically social media is very important
Yeah, definitely.
in terms of engaging with
Engaging,
different
reaching
parts
out.
of the society.
Mm-hmm. How does the project plan to help people in Somaliland understand why it's important to use less plastic?
I think that will catch you.
Ah, okay. We'll cut that part out. Um, how would the project know if new ideas are actually helping to reduce plastic?
Well, so one is the innovators or people who come up with the solutions
Yeah.
are awarded
Yeah.
the grants. There are a tool in place used by SomRil.
Mm-hmm.
It's called evidence recording
Mm.
toolkit, evidence toolkit. So
Yeah.
what we try to do is when we are piloting this project,
Right.
along the way we monitor
Yeah.
and also register
Mm-hmm.
all the changes and all
Yeah.
that has been that's happening.
Right.
So that's what we try to do right now.
Mm-hmm.
Along piloting, we record the changes and the impacts that are taking place,
Mm-hmm.
and then inform of any changes.
Right. One more message. One more question. What message would you give to the youth regarding plastic waste?
I think when it comes to the effects of plastic waste,
Yeah.
it has more on the youth than it has any other,
Mm-hmm.
person.
Why is that?
Because the youth are the one who are gonna live
Yeah.
in the coming years.
Yeah.
Like, probably we might live in 40 years to come,
Yeah.
60 years to come.
Yeah.
We're lucky.
Yeah.
And then they are gonna be the one who are gonna deal with the consequences of
Mhm.
their actions today.
Interesting.
So if they constructively
That's true.
deal with the plastic waste
Yeah.
in Somaliland,
Right.
then they would have the chance to avert, disasters, climate-induced disasters in the future,
Mhm.
and then be able to create an environment where everything is naturally happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I would highly recommend them to take a collective actions against the
Mm.
issue of plastic in Somaliland,
Mm-hmm.
and then come up with different solutions, innovative solutions,
Yeah.
try to seek out help from other people,
Yeah.
because one person cannot do the entire thing.
Definitely.
Yes. So
Definitely.
it's always about connectivity. It's always about
Yeah.
collectively doing things.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Liban, thank you for dropping by and giving us this ocean of knowledge regarding plastic waste and climate change and the innovative challenge. So, guys, there you go. That was the podcast. If you guys enjoy this podcast, and leave a like. If you have any questions regarding the podcast as well, leave a comment. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.